folks, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video unboxing and first impressions look at the Xiaomi Mijia 4K action camera. It retails for under $100, about $95 currently, so the pricing is fairly competitive with other kind of premium high-end action cameras. It's still going to be significantly cheaper than a GoPro, but it packs in much more features. So the biggest question, of course, is whether the performance is as good. Other than having a 4K sensor, Xiaomi also has put in an interesting capacitive touchscreen display, which is quite large, wider than a typical action camera, and the revised user interface, which uses gestures and swipes, is also going to be simpler to use than just traditional up and down keys, which we find on action cameras. That seems like something you would find 10 years ago. So they've reamped the entire user interface. Otherwise, the battery life is rated at 2 hours of 4K video recording, which is also quite impressive, considering the average is going to be only 1 hour for this category. It also features dual band Wi-Fi, and it uses a CPU that's been kind of optimized for video recording and image taking. It also features a UV coated lens, so that will protect it and make it capture light a little bit better under direct glare. And furthermore, it also does feature Bluetooth, so it's another way that you can connect to the phone if you don't want to use Wi-Fi for direct file transfer. All right, so you can see that the box, once again, everything is printed in Chinese because this model was originally released in China. But again, you can find it down below in the links, courtesy of distributors like Gearbest. So we have the action camera right on top. Down below here, we have the user manual. You can see that it documents how to set it up, all the contents of the packaging, and you also have access to the QR code, which you can scan to download the application on the phone. You can also search it up through the App Store directly. You'll also find access to the battery pack, which is removable, and the micro USB cable for charging. It takes roughly 2 hours to completely charge. The battery pack here, which you can see is proprietary, is using what seems like 1,400 milliamp hour capacity, so that's again pretty impressive considering the small size. And now we have just the camera itself. So one of the things that you'll notice immediately about the Mijia 4K camera is that there is no waterproof case. It also doesn't give you an abundance of external accessories like a helmet mount, a bike mount, which are pretty common on SJ cams and even GoPros to some extent. So if you want those things, you kind of have to look for them separately. On its own, the camera itself is already quite rugged. Most of the ports are covered up, so whether or not, although it's not fully submergible in water in its current state, it is splash proof already. If you want that waterproof feature, you have to purchase a separate accessory. And Xiaomi has also released a gimbal designed exclusively for this camera, which is pretty cool. It makes your videos optically stabilized, which in conjunction with the ultra wide angle lens makes the footage seem very cinematic. All right, so we have a lens protector right on top. Peeling this back, we have just the lens. You can see some basic details about it printed, including the aperture. Field of view is 145 degrees, not quite as wide as 170, which seems to be what we found on the SJ Cam 4000X Lite series, but good enough. There's also a status indication light. The size of the action camera is a little bit larger than average because of the larger touchscreen display, and it has a very interesting sandstone texture to the soft touch rubber. It reminds me a lot of the OnePlus One and its back, so it feels very nice and premium in the hand. There's a dedicated power switch, which also acts as the record/video taking key that you tap on for a few seconds to turn it on. You have an array of LEDs in addition to microphones, and on the bottom here we have a tripod mount integrated into the camera, which is also very cool on a action cam. So this allows you to put it into a more stable position if you want to capture longer videos. It's capable of capturing also slow motion at 720p in addition to time-lapse videos if you want to set that up. So let's pop in the battery, see if there's any juice. This is also where the micro SD card slot is located, although there is no capacity built in, so it supports cards up to 64 gigabytes. The latch kind of closes up pretty well, and on the side here there's another latch that hides the micro USB port for charging, so everything is protected again from splashes of water. All right, so let's peel back this protector as well. And we have just the generous capacitive touchscreen display. So it should be quite sensitive to use. The first thing the camera prompted was to set up a language, so we chose English, of course, and afterwards pretty much done. It's a very simple interface, but seems quite responsive. I can tap on the screen anywhere to hide or show the additional settings, including the battery status, whether there's a micro SD card, and also advanced settings. From here, I can change things like EV, shutter speed, ISO, and aspect ratio if I want to play around with those things. I can swipe over to the left to enter the advanced kind of screen of the quick modes. So that allows me to either take an image or start recording video. So you can toggle between those settings pretty easily. And again, it's fairly snappy. Otherwise, I can drag down like a notification shade to turn on or off Wi-Fi, in addition to going to settings for Bluetooth and turn the unit off, so you have some quick shortcuts accessible. Finally, on the right is where you would find any images or videos you've taken with the camera. Obviously, there are none at the moment since it's a brand new unit with no SD card inserted. So a very simple interface indeed. The display quality seems to be quite good, however it isn't an IPS panel, so you can see how if we're tilting it at various angles, the colors seem to kind of lose their visibility to some extent, but overall it is still quite bright and good enough to be seen hopefully in outdoor environments. Again, we do have a very wide angle lens that is creating almost a fish lens effect, so it's capturing a large field of view, and overall colors and objects and first impressions seem to be quite good. Again, we have to do a lot more testing with this unit, but seems to be doing a pretty good job overall of capturing a realistic image, judging by the viewfinder that I'm looking at the moment. Since it is Wi-Fi compatible, we will of course connect it with a phone as well and test out the companion app in the full review coming out soon. So anyways guys, this has just been our video unboxing and first impressions quick look at the Xiaomi Mi Jia 4K action camera. Be sure to stay tuned for a more complete review soon, and thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.